mind that. Right there. Ah. Okay. What questions you got?
Pertaining to the cell membrane.
Yeah.
And it's got the particular receptors that allow the proton. But then there's also the pump, the potassium sodium pump.
Yeah.
That allows both potassium and sodium to go through it at the same time.
Yeah, but remember that it pumps it against the concentration gradient. Let me go over that real quick, okay?
So it's both ions going through the same area at the same time, or does it just stop and push it back out? I don't understand it.
You mean, is it like kind of like a? Yeah. No.
Oh.
No. First it'll pump out the sodium, and then it'll pump in the potassium.
Okay. Not simultaneous.
No.
Okay.
No. If I implied that, then I need to not imply that. But here's the thing. In the big scheme of things, it don't make no never mind. Did you follow that? You had no idea what we were talking about just now, did you?
No, I know you guys were talking about the sodium potassium.
Right. His question was, do they pump out the pump in the potassium and pump out the sodium at the same time? And the answer is no. Okay. What else?
Do you have these, but like solutions or
Yeah.
No, you guys just go all the way to the bottom and it's just like diagram.
Yeah. Right. And I will say what I say to students every semester, right? That is, educate yourself, right? I put all that stuff on there. Hey, what's this? What's that? Let me see what this is. See, if I tell you everything, you don't think. There you have it. Am I right? Educate yourself. Okay, what else? Yeah, I got tons of, you can print those blank diagrams off till you're blue in the face. And some people have actually turned blue in the face. They have, came in, they're all blue. Anything?
Can you explain to me about the sodium thing again?
The sodium potassium pump?
No, about when we eat cow thirst.
Yeah.
I know hypothalamus has something to do with that.
Yeah. So, remember, the goal of the body is to maintain a internal balance, right? So, did you read in your book about osmolarity? Osmosis or osmolarity, did you read about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so watch. So, anytime you have a compartment, and the capillary, the blood is considered a compartment. And then you have the cell, right? In this case, it's the hypothalamus, right? So that's part of your brain. In order for your brain to live, your brain needs stuff from the blood, right? So every cell of the brain has a capillary that supplies it with the stuff it needs. So watch. Now, in order for your body to be in homeostasis, there has to be a balance between the amount of stuff in the blood and water and the amount of stuff in the cell and water, right? So what I'm saying in this picture is that these two are equal right now. Now, what's really important is if stuff can't move, what can always move? Water can always move, right? So in this case, what I'm telling you is that sodium is always highly concentrated in the blood. So if you eat more salt, sodium, the amount of sodium in your blood is going to go up, right? So if sodium is relatively impermeable to the hypothalamus, yeah, if stuff can't move, what can always move? So where does water always go? Not less stuff.
Where there's more stuff?
Yep. So water always moves from an area of a lot of water and less stuff to an area of more stuff and less water, right? So would you agree, based on your studies of chemistry, that the capillary has a higher concentration of stuff? Good. Therefore, relative to the cell, it has higher stuff, less water. Would you agree with that? So water always moves from an area of a lot of water and less stuff to an area of more stuff and less water until there is a balance. Wish I could spell a balance. A balance between the amount of stuff and water in the blood and stuff and water in the cell. And when you remove water from the hypothalamus, that, in this class, it dehydrates it, right? So you're removing water from it, and anytime you remove water, it will trigger thirst because the hypothalamus controls thirst. So that's why you get thirsty when you eat salt. Say yeah. Now, from a practical standpoint, from a clinical standpoint, if you look here, then and again, it don't make no never mind the stuff, right? It doesn't matter what stuff it is if it's impermeable, then if that stuff can't move, water can always move. So in the case of your blood sugar being really high, right? Say it's 600, 700. If you don't have insulin because you're a type 1 diabetic, right? Then glucose can't go from the blood into the H cell. Ain't that right? Good. So in this case, we still have the same situation. We have a situation where we have in the blood, we have more stuff and less water. We have something that's impermeable, glucose, because you don't have insulin. So if stuff can't move, water can always move. So water is going to move out of the hypothalamus into the blood to try to balance that stuff and water ratio in the blood and the cell. And you're going to dehydrate the hypothalamus again, and that's going to make you thirsty. That's why high blood sugar makes you thirsty. Say yeah. And remember, in that case, your blood sugar is high everywhere. So every cell of your body is being exposed to this very, very high blood sugar. And again, because you need insulin to get that glucose into the cell, if you don't have it, right, then you got to maintain that balance of stuff and water. So all of your cells are getting water pulled out of them by osmosis. Boom. And anytime you increase the amount of water in your blood, so you've increased your blood volume, yeah, that's going to increase your blood pressure. And in a resting state, that makes you pee more. That's why they pee a lot, right? So, and watch, when water moves from an area of a lot of water and less stuff to an area of more stuff and less water, that's called osmosis. Say yes, osis. And the only thing that can osmosis is water, right? Everything else diffuses. And diffusion, by definition, is stuff going from high concentration, selectively permeable, to low. And anytime you have to move big stuff into or out of the cell, or you got to work against the concentration gradient, like the sodium-potassium pump, that's active transport, and that requires energy. Say yes. Cellular energy. We ain't there. If you read about, I think it's in chapter 3 or 4, where they talk about making ATP in the metabolic pathway. Yeah, I'm going to have people having seizures in class.
How does the water get through the cell membrane to the lipid system?
Well, I left that as a secret, but since you asked. Embedded in all channels are these little, in cell membranes are these little channels called aquaporins. There are little pores entirely through the cell membrane that only allow water through. Why?
But I was blowing up your cell phone. I was here at 8:40, looking for this building. I went to nursing because I seen S125, and the nursing teachers and they said, "Oh, S125, that's in the other building." We were all the way to every. I had security helping me find it and everything. And I'm calling the phone. I text your phone. I left a message. I came all the way this way. So I was looking for this room. Hi, Tim.
Hi. Well, what do you want me to tell you? Good morning. That's Aquaporins. What's that? No. Yeah, it should be. Don't write that. Oh, okay, here. Aquaporins. Okay, what's next? Did that make sense? Yes, ma'am. Really? Do you ever answer yourself? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Don't let people see you do that. They'll start putting you in a jacket and putting you in a rubber room.
Actually, you retain information better that way anyway.
What's that?
That was for me when I'm studying my software.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I do too. When I was learning this stuff a long, long time ago, I would do home care. So I'd put all my answers on big note cards. When I had 5 minutes, I just look in. Yes, ma'am.
I have for like 5 ways stuff can enter in like a cell. Can you have simple diffusion as one and then diffusion as one?
No.
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 So I have diffusion, osmosis, the ion, the sodium, potassium pump, and the ion leak channel. So I only have 4.
Well, you're going to get, you'll get 30 points off that question, assuming all of the other ones are right, because you only have 4. Yeah. Okay. So remember that the cell membrane is that phospholipid bilayer, right? And that the middle is made of fat and the heads are made of phosphate. So the head that faces the outside and it faces the inside likes water. And the middle part is made of fat and it don't like water. So in this world, you're pretty much 2 things, water soluble or fat soluble, right? But in the case of cells, and we learned, who learned? Who learned? Are you in the night class or a day class? Oh, did I go over the cell part with you guys yet?
Yes, you did. You went over it.
I did?
Yeah.
Okay. So all cells need oxygen because oxygen is required in the mitochondria to make ATP aerobically. See how I brought that in? And then one of the byproducts of metabolism is CO2. And that's highly concentrated in the cell, lowly concentrated in the blood. Now what's important to remember is that diffusion works both ways, right? It just depends on where the concentration gradient is the highest. So in this case, oxygen is going to move into the cell, CO2 is going to move out because oxygen's higher concentrated in the blood and CO2 is higher concentrated in the cell. So this is an example of simple diffusion. And simple diffusion is when stuff, solute, goes from high concentration through a selectively permeable membrane to low. Boom. That's simple diffusion. Yep. Now, since we're on it, might as well do it. In a cell, if your blood sugar goes up, say you ate some tacos. I made homemade tacos. They weren't so bad. My kid choked them down like a champ. Yeah. He was, you could tell, right? When kids are hungry, they have no taste buds. Right? They'll eat anything.
Are you recording this?
Yeah, but I'm not going to put it up on YouTube because I'm going to put up a new video on Run Out of Space. Timmy sings the best of Marvin Gaye. I hate Me Too, just so you know. Watch. Can glucose simply diffuse from the blood into the cell? No. What does it need? It needs insulin. So when insulin binds to that functioning insulin receptor, it opens up that little gate and allows glucose to go from high concentration in the blood to low concentration in the cell. Say yes. When you need help to do what you need to do, you facilitate someone. So this insulin and glucose is an example of facilitated diffusion. So it's still diffusion, but it's not simple diffusion. It requires a facilitator. And it doesn't require energy, right? You're still going from high to low. Say yeah. All right. Yeah?
When you draw the insulin,
Yeah.
is one circle with an ion connected to glucose and one separate one?
No. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Don't ever say, no, I'm not even going to say it. Don't ever say this. If you ask a nurse what insulin does, 90% of them will say that it helps glucose get into the cell. They'll never tell you how, right? Now look, insulin doesn't do anything with this glucose. Nothing. All insulin does is open up the gate that allows glucose to go from the blood into the cell.
Why did I think it attached itself?
Good. Don't think that. Don't think that. I don't know how to get that out of your head. Don't think that ever. Never. Ever. Never. What? All insulin does, remember, glucose is impermeable to the cell membrane. You got me? It can't simply diffuse. So in order for glucose to go from high concentration of blood to low concentration in the cell, insulin has to be released from the pancreas. And when insulin binds to that functioning insulin receptor in the cell membrane, it's like putting a key in a lock, right? To lift up your garage door, right? The garage door is closed. The only way you can get the garage door open is by putting the key in and turning it. If you do that, the garage door goes up, and now you can put your car in it, right? But the car, you don't do anything with the key to the car, right? The key that goes into the garage door has nothing to do with glucose. Say yes, Coast.
So what happens to the insulin after it's goes with the receptor? Does it bind to it? Does it just
Yes, it binds to it, and then it is degraded into what's called C-peptide, but I don't want to talk about that right now. So I don't want to talk about it. I don't. It gets broken down, you pee it out. So how you can measure someone's insulin level is by measuring their C-peptide in their blood, the breakdown of insulin. The C-peptide is directly related to the amount of insulin they have in the blood. If you got this amount of insulin, you're going to have this amount of C-peptide. Boom. Make sense? A little bit? Okay, what else? That's 2 ways, yes?
So you can have simple diffusion and then facilitated diffusion?
Yes, ma'am. Now, look, if you write this for osmosis, I'm marking it wrong, just so you know. If you tell me osmosis is the movement of water from high concentration to low, I'm marking that wrong. Do you understand that?
Semi-permeable membrane?
Yes, not only that, what you need to tell me is that if stuff can't move, water can move. You got me? So if there's stuff in the blood of the cell that can't move, water can always move. And water always moves from an area of a lot of water and less stuff through a selectively permeable membrane to an area of more stuff and less water. Say yes. Boom. That's osmosis.
So if I had all of that, but I didn't say say its stuff can't move.
Yes,
and all
yes,
that.
yes, yes. I'm marking that wrong. I'm marking it wrong.
Okay.
Yep. So you better get on that and learn that. Otherwise, I'm marking that wrong. That.
So,
Cool that. Say yeah. All right, now watch. Can sodium simply diffuse?
no.
Can potassium simply diffuse? No. So embedded in their cell membrane are protein channels. And these protein channels are specific. They will only allow specific things through. Anything else, it won't. So in this case, sodium wants to go into the cell. Why does it want to go into the cell? There you go. It's highly concentrated in the blood and lowly concentrated in the cell. And the only way that sodium can get from the blood into the cell is through that sodium ion leak channel. Potassium, same way. So you better mention in your answer, they're specific, right? And I even told you, I'll never forget it. It was a Tuesday. You know.
What do you call it, the sodium potassium pump or the ion leak channel?
Ion leak channels and sodium potassium pump are absolutely two different things. You didn't know that? Did you guys know that? Okay, you better know that. Correct. Correct. And calcium the same way. Calcium leak channel, boom. High concentration to low. So no energy is required here, right? And again, I explained this, and you need to get this idea. Now watch. The goal of the body is to maintain homeostasis, right? So if sodium leaks into the cell and potassium leaks out of the cell, right? And calcium leaks into it, at some point you would think that there would be equal amounts of sodium, potassium, and calcium in the blood, sodium, potassium, calcium in the cell, right? You would think that, because to maintain that equilibrium, right? But the fact is that there isn't. You learned, I just told you, that sodium's highly concentrated in the blood and potassium's highly concentrated in the cell. All right? That's because embedded in every cell membrane of your body is our buddy, our pal, our little pump, right? That sodium-potassium pump. And that sodium-potassium pump pumps sodium and potassium. Do you want me to take that a little slower? With the sodium potassium pump and what it pumps? Pumps sodium. That's kind of funny. All right, watch. Ten sodiums leak in. 10 potassiums leak out. You got me? Watch. What the pump does is it takes 2 of those 10 potassium, binds it to the little pump, and pumps 2 potassiums back into the cell. You got me? Then it takes 3 sodiums out of the 10, and those 3 sodiums it pumps out. And you're working against the concentration gradient. You're working against the current. Where does potassium naturally want to go? It wants to go out. What is the pump doing? It's pumping it back in. You got me? Sodium wants to naturally come in. The pump's pumping it out. And what creates that difference in charge, right, where sodium's highly concentrated in the blood and potassium's highly concentrated in the cell, is our buddy, our pal, the sodium-potassium pump. That guy pumps an unequal amount of ions to make sure that there is more positive charges on the outside of the cell. You got that? What? Right, it creates a battery. That's what it creates. Tell me you followed that. You got it. Beautiful. That's critical. Right? And all cells have that. All cells have that. And in some people, 30% of everything you put into your pie hole goes to making energy to make those sodium-potassium pumps run in your cell.
So it never ends up where it's positive and positive or negative, negative. That's why it does it?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yes. In this, yes. I'm not going to say, you take the advanced class, then I'll tell you what goes on. I don't want to talk about that. I don't. That's truly beyond the scope of the course. If you get this, can't tell you how appreciative I will be. You got it? Okay. That's the sodium-potassium pump. So what did we go over? We went simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, osmosis, right? Ion leak channels, sodium-potassium pump. Ain't that right? And what's an example? What's the definition of active transport? Anytime you move something into or out of a cell that requires energy, cellular energy, that's active transport. What's an example of active transport? Do you see how this is? You see this, right? You see this? It's all relating. It's all going to relate. If you don't see it, her name is, hang on. Oh, what happened? What? Wait, I need a new slide, then it'll be good. Nope, I need a new slide. Oh, yeah, there. Now it's good. Her name is Catherine Jerome. She's in horticulture. She's the head of it, just so you know. People say, Tim, that's so mean. No, it's not. It's really not. Right? If you, you know, I said it before. I can't do it anymore. All right. Say yeah. What else?
So you want osmosis to be part of the cytosol?
You can do, you're right, because that's one of the ways that stuff moves into our cell. Water is, you know, if water moves, you can use that. Say yeah.
What about active transport was one of the
Of what?
of how things move in the
Active, yeah, but you need to give me a specific example of active,
So
yes.
for each one you want an
Absolutely.
example behind it.
Absolutely.
So when I
Yep.
describe what diffusion is and osmosis, I need to give you an example.
Yes.
of that too?
Yes. What?
I got it too, right?
Yeah, because when you
fear that
said
I'm gonna
define,
Okay, watch. Watch. Educate yourselves. Tim, when I define active transport, do I need an example? And I would email you back, yes, you need an example. Say yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
I get that, but I mean like the questions are just saying like define osmosis. So after
Oh,
I-
defining osmosis? No, you don't have to give me an You don't have to give me an example there.
Okay, it's just the explanation that you want examples in.
Correct.
it says
I'm
it there.
sorry.
It just says like define osmosis and diffusion.
Watch.
That makes sense.
Okay, watch. Watch.
Okay.
Sorry.
Watch. If it says define it. Right? If it says explain, right? Explain it. In that question, osmosis and diffusion, define it. That's it. You don't have to give me an example, right? But in the 5 ways that stuff moves into and out of a cell, you have to explain it. Tell me we're straight. Good. Good. Anything else? No?
Wait.
Well, you were late, so, you know, you don't get to ask questions.
Oh, it's
For real?
okay.
You want a pen? When did you email me?
Last night, we were going back and forth, and I actually.
Oh, are you Marissa?
No, I'm Brittany. Go on.
I did too.
You did not. I checked it this morning. I sent you like 5 in a row, and you did not respond. Look at them.
Overstock.com. I thought you
Look
were
at that.
upset you
Oh,
got
you
stuff
said
from
yeah.
Overstock.
When was that? 8. Oh, I was trying to find my way here, Tim. It was 8:40 that I was here.
Good. Do me a favor. The president of college, Brian Albrecht, tell him that you couldn't find the classroom that we were reviewing in on Saturday. He'll be very upset with me. Well, because then he doesn't have to take away the pay that I'm not getting for being here. We'll talk about it later. It ain't all about you right now. It's all about me answering questions. So you can do good in this class. You ain't never seen anyone like me, have you? Right? Like you never had a teacher like me before.
Yeah, I
Have you? There you go. Did you learn something in that class?
Yeah, her name was
There you have it. See? You even remember her name, right? I don't care if you remember my name. I care that you learn this stuff. Vocabulary to the maternal. That's right.
Are a lot of these answers in our book?
All of those answers are in the book.
I haven't had a chance to look at these.
Oh, God. Come on now. What do you got? What do you got? I got to blow insulation in my sister's attic. I don't know what it's made out of. It's, you know, one of those machines you... Yeah, cellulose. There you go. Oh, yeah, I saw that. I saw that. That's really expensive. That's really expensive. I don't want to do that. Mm-mm.
Can we ask questions about the table?
You can ask. I won't give you the answers, though. I'll help you try to think through them if you want.
Tanya explained to me why electrolyte is critical to the normal functioning of the body.
Yeah. They're critical because they produce electricity. And, right? They do.
Yeah.
And without them or an imbalance of them, your body will not be able to create the correct electrical current, and then you end up dead. Yeah.
That's it.
Well, before you die, there's stuff happens, but yeah, if the imbalance is bad enough, it will kill you. So watch, and I'm just telling you this. Maybe you'll remember. I don't know. High potassium in the blood slows your heart. Low potassium in your blood speeds up your heart. So that's how they kill people, right? The lethal injection is potassium chloride, and it stops your heart. When I worked in the ICU, I had to go in and see some surgeries. So when they cut open the person's chest, spread their ribs, right, what they would do is they would stop their heart by putting iced potassium chloride solution. They'd just pour it right on their heart. And cold slows metabolism, and high potassium stops your heart. Then they hook them on bypass, and boom. Then they had these like 2 little paddles that looked like spatulas. After they were done with the surgery, shocked it, and then the heart would start beating again.
Shocked at a certain electrical current?
Yeah.
How close are they to like inventing a battery that you can plug in like a phone at night instead of eating and drinking?
I don't know about that. I don't. But I'll tell you what they are close to, though, is they're close to having nanotechnology that is small enough where it doesn't produce an immune response, but it won't get filtered by the kidneys, so it remains in the blood. And It can actually send blood pressure, blood sugar, white blood cell count, look for signs of infection. Then it has like a little laser where it can like ablate or blow up plaque in arteries and stuff. I don't know. But we had this meeting about this like 15 years ago with Abbott. And I ended up leaving, but I don't know where that ultimately ended up. I know the laser was bad because they were doing it in dogs, and the laser wasn't right because it was blowing through the coronary artery and killing the dogs. So, yeah. But yeah, that's futuristic. Okay, what else? Come on.
On the table, I don't understand the 3 fatty acid and glycerol formula. Why is it so special?
What's the question?
I was leaving it vague. Hoping you'd answer.
No, take it. What number is it?
9.
What's the question?
I got true.
What?
Fats are composed of 3 fatty acids joined to a molecule of glycerol.
That's the question?
Yep. True or false?
Okay. As far as you know. Let me explain this because this is coming up. The way fat in your body is stored and transported, one of the ways it's transported is you have this 3-carbon compound molecule called glycerol. And hanging off each carbon of the glycerol molecule is 1, 2 tri-fatty acids. So this is called triglycerol, triglyceride. That's how fat's transported in the blood. It's also stored. So when the doctor measures your triglyceride level in the blood, the doctor's measuring the amount of fat floating in your blood. Bam. If you got a lot of fat in your blood, you have what's referred to as fatty blood. Fatty blood. Fatty blood. That's so stupid. You guys better study. I mean, for real. Yeah. How many people have been working on this? They've been working ahead of time, yes?
I haven't been working on this because I've been working on the first stuff.
Yeah, I took the take home and I did middle of.
You took the take home? And did why?
I didn't know afterwards.
Did you read the chapters? Yeah, there you go. Right.
You have to
Yeah.
read the chapters and then you have to kind of brainstorm and everything.
You guys aren't used to reading, are you? You're really not.
Or the jargon, I'm like.
You know. That's the thing, though. That the devil's in the details, people. I mean, honestly, right? If you read a word, I know what you think. Let's see, electrophoresis. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but maybe it won't show up again, so I'm going to ignore it. What's that? No. Are you kidding? First of all, we don't have it, and second of all, that takes a lot of time. No way. We'll do evoke potentials on people, though. What we'll do is we'll stimulate their heart, and we'll find the spot that's irritable, and then you can deliver a shock to that spot and throw them into ventricular fibrillation, and they'll die. If you volunteer for that, though, you'll get an A in the class.
I'm just wondering because I took like project weekly classes in high school and that was like some of the things.
No, we ain't got time for that. We ain't got time for that.
Will they ever do that?
You know what you can do, and this is no joke. If you take microbiology with Dr. McLaughlin, you can get a honors study program, and he can do that stuff. Just tell him you want to do that stuff. He'll do it. He loves it. No joke.
But like, is it ever used in fact, like when you're working in a hospital, or is it?
Electrophoresis?
Yeah, is it?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, especially in people with heart problems. They'll look at it. They'll do electrophoresis studies to see. I can't remember, like abnormal troponin or something. I can't remember. Yeah.
We wanted to see if we could change that like weird chemical, like PCP or PCC. It's supposed to be better, they said. It had to do with fumes.
Yeah, I don't know. No, but we're not going to do that. We ain't got time for that. I got to get you through this basic stuff. I mean, for real. And you can see it's a struggle. Is it not? Yeah? All right, what else? Come on. I'll give you extra credit if you help me come in and blow insulation in my sister's attic.
How much extra for you?
Good. See, you're learning. See, I taught you something already. 3 points. No? You're not going to do it? Okay. All right, what else? We're good?
Oh, no, okay. I need help with 25. I know what page's on, and I couldn't really figure it out.
Okay.
So, what, you want me to read the question again?
No, read it.
Okay, if a strong acid were added to the phosphate buffer pair, the amount of sodium hydrophosphate in the solution would increase. True or false?
Do you remember doing those acid-base balance equations in chemistry? Do you remember that? And do you know that like a weak buffer and like a strong acid, strong base? Do you remember that? What's the definition of a strong acid? When it gets dissolved in the blood, it produces a lot of hydrogens, right? A weak acid, when it gets dissolved in the blood, doesn't produce a lot of hydrogens. Say yeah. So I'm not gonna tell you, right? Just so you know, you're going to get that wrong unless you read. So watch.
I found it on the page, but and I got another question about the strong acid, and I've seen it in a book, but it wasn't making sense.
Here, watch. Can I define a strong acid for you? Can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay, watch. Here, let me do it this way. You know what I found out? Students lie. Students lie. I'll say, you went over this stuff. Oh, no, we didn't. No, we didn't. No, no. Okay, watch. Hydrochloric acid is a strong acid. So that means that hydrochloric acid, right? The hydrogen and chloride molecule are bound together. You got me? When they get dissolved in bodily fluids, what do? They break apart. So watch. And hydrochloric acid is a strong acid, so it almost completely, all of it, ionizes. You got me? And when you make more free-floating hydrogen ions, what happens to the pH? It goes down. So that's a strong acid.
But that doesn't have any...
I'm not done yet. Watch. Yeah? This is carbonic acid. Carbonic acid is a weak acid. When it gets dissolved in bodily fluids, it only dissociates a little bit. So what produced more free-floating hydrogen ions, hydrochloric acid or carbonic acid? Hydrochloric. So hydrochloric acid is a strong acid because it completely dissociates in water. Carbonic acid, this guy's still together, right? So only one of them dissociated. So when you have an acid, it only a few of them dissociate. That's a weak acid. Say yes. Right. So what's your question? I know. Tim, tell me the answers.
So the question was, is if you have a strong one, would the solution increase? So the answer is yes, increase. It would increase.
So what's the question?
If a strong acid were added to the phosphate buffer, the amount of the
Sodium phosphate or hypophosphate?
hypophosphate in the solution would increase.
Right, right. What would happen?
No.
So hydrogen, because we said like if we added hydrochloric, it would make more of the H ion. I don't think it would make the NaHCO.
So it would be false, because it would still be associated, so it wouldn't increase.
What's your name again? I'll get everybody's name. Lexus, right? I like what Lexus said.
So would it?
Right, you didn't pay attention to Lexus, so you're going to get that wrong, and I can't go over it. You got to read it in the book. That's why you got the book. You got to read the book. Read book. Read book. Read book.
Because if it was a weak acid like the H2CO3, then there would be an H plus and then CHCO. So basically when it only has like one base, it will associate more. Like hydrochloric acid only has one base.
What's the base? What did they say?
Phosphate buffer base.
It's H2P. It's HPO4 minus 2. Right? Because these ionize quickly, or they form hydrogen ions, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get H2PO4. That's phosphoric acid. And phosphoric acid is a weak acid. That's what you're getting. Just assume that you're going to get one of those wrong on the multiple guess. What can I say? No, it's okay. Most people flunk that multiple guess. If you only get a couple wrong, that's good.
What chapters does this do? Is it 3-1-4?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit in the acid-base chapters too. But again, watch. It's a take-home. So you could have it out, and you could pull up your computer, say, wonder what that buffer is. Do what you gotta do.
They have that brain fuse now, too.
There you go. Talk to those people. They got tutors.
I didn't know they answered.
Oh, yeah, they answer right away.
Do they? Yeah. Talk to them.
I would not have passed my chemistry without YouTube, with Rosie, with Ryan, like, there's so many other people who passed that class.
So this is my thought, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to the A&P tutor, and they can come in and tutor on Saturday. That way I can sleep in. I had to get up early. I did, to make my kid breakfast, my girlfriend breakfast. No, he can't. He doesn't do anything by himself, right? When he wants to go someplace, I have to physically pick him up and put him into his truck because he's too lazy to walk. What's his name? B-I-A-L-O? Bilo?
B-I-L-A-O.
V? I can't hear you.
B-I-L-A-L.
Yep. Go down to the student services and ask for that person. Say yeah. I don't know. Just ask for the AMP tutor. They'll tell you. They're incredible. I go down there before class so they can tutor me before I go teach class. What I'm telling you is this. What I'm telling you is this. And I'm trying to help you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here on a Saturday morning getting yelled at by students because they didn't know where the classroom was.
Or answer the phone, or email me, or read a text message.
It's all about you. I get it. Watch. What's that?
Right. You get to eat bread.
Somebody should bring like an electric griddle and somebody else brings like
I got a griddle.
We're going to write that down.
Yeah.
All right, watch. If you go to the tutor for the essay questions, they're going to confuse you. Do you understand? I'm telling you that,
They don't know
right?
what you want.
They don't know what I want. I know what I want. Plus, it's on tape. Tutors don't record their tutoring sessions. Are you following me? If you want to go to the tutor to ask them questions about the multiple guess, by all means. Absolutely. Because you have a book, and those questions are derived from the book. I'm telling you that to help you, right? And here's the other thing. What I don't want you to do is read into too much of this stuff. Do you follow? Because it will confuse you, right? I have a plan for your life. I do, right? I know where I'm going. I want to take you. And if you start digging too deep into this stuff, you're going to get confused. And here's why, and it's not rude, it's a fact. That's why you're sitting in this class. You don't know enough to ask the right questions. Do you got me? So stick with me and drink the Kool-Aid.
Why Kool-Aid? I want good Kool-Aid.
You know, in Ghana, when James Jones, he made him drink Kool-Aid laced cyanide. So that's a, here, drink the Kool-Aid.
Where did you get the cyanide?
what flavor is it?
Oh, no, y'all.
I think it was grape Kool-Aid. I remember I was like 13, 14 years old when that happened. Okay, here we go. Any questions? No? You're good. No multiple guess.
No. Okay, where's my
All right, come on.
number 8 on your okay. Describe in detail the cell membrane structure and function. Explain 5. I already got 5 ways.
Good.
But when I went back on the video, you said this is exactly how I want it. So I had like a whole book. So I don't think some of that has to be in here.
Well, why don't you send me your answer and I'll tell you if that's what I want.
I sent you 5 and you just said yes. So I don't know which one you're saying yes to. No.
You're, how old are you? Okay, I got it. All right, I'll look at them again.
Here, I'll just show you.
No, I'm not going to look at it now. That's too much work.
Okay, I'll then resend it.
Okay. Anything else? Anything? Yes.
Why is the pH of the blood between like 7.35 to 7.45?
Anybody?
Enzyme.
Enzymes where?
In the brain.
I thought it was in the cell.
And if you go below or above, you're dead.
The most sensitive enzymes of your body are in your brain. And if the pH, hold up here. You're going to get that wrong. Let me talk. If your pH goes up or down, like if it goes down to 6.8, dead. 7.8, dead. Because remember that critical enzymes of the brain and cells of the body maintain their optimal shape at 7.35 to 7.45. So the optimal shape function. I must have said that 90 times. Yeah, maybe 91 now. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are all these essay questions going to be on there, or are you going to pick like 4 of them out of the 8?
No, I'll put them all on there.
Okay, I just was
Yeah.
Did you bring your own paper?
No.
When you described sickle cell anemia, you said you never finished how to
They use hyaluronic acid. It prevents, it reduces the sickling of cells, and there's not too much you can do it. Plus, it makes it a little more rubbery, so they can slide through the capillary.
Is there a life expectancy?
It's shortened, but I don't know by how much. Usually, they die from stroke or end organ failure. A lot of people with sickle cell are on dialysis because their kidneys fail. Yeah. Okay, don't disappoint me, or don't disappoint you.
You said I know for the electrolytes, when you want the examples, you want the charge and the name.
Yes.
Now, for the examples of 5 ways, if I'm writing sodium, do you want
No.
the charge and
No.
just the name?
Right.
I thought it said the name, the symbol.
You didn't listen. You didn't listen. You didn't listen. You did not listen. Yeah. I'm writing that down. She said for the electrolyte question, do you want the name and the chart? I said yes. When I have to explain in what question how electrolytes move, do I have to write the name? And I said no, because you wrote it in the other question.
Is phosphate ion or
Yes. Make sure you get the charge right.
it says 4 negative negative?
Yep. It's PO4 minus 2. Right. You are all over the place. I'm talking to him.
I know, but I like to start here just in case I have the same question.
Okay. We're struggling today, aren't we? You better get there early on, when do you have it, Monday or Tuesday? Wednesday? Okay. Better get there early.
There's 7 ions, all of them? Am I thinking of,
5, you only need 5.
I don't know, how many are in total?
A ton of them. Ton.
So I should be looking for it.
Better not. Again, I'm trying to, look, I'm teaching you at the level that it needs to be taught at, right? Whatever I give you, don't think into it. Do you understand? It can only hurt you. And I'm not being rude, right? When you get into the advanced class, I'm moving away from explaining stuff. I'm going to give you a concept, and then you're going to explain it. You got me? Because you have a foundation now. That's how it works. Say yeah. Don't wait till the last minute. If you do, it will be over.
So is there more than 5 ways that,
Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
that the,
Yep. A lot more. But, yeah.
you already know what I'm going to say?
What's that? No, I'm not going to go over that, right? Because again, that's going to confuse you.
But there is 4 ways that the,
Yes. Yep.
Is the library on there?
Yep. The tutors are there too, I think. You know what you can do is you can go online. You can go to that. Is that the brain fuse where you can do? Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'm not sure if they're
That's
on
free.
weekends. I know, like, during the week they're there and they're only there till like 11 p.m. or something. Like, we can't activate brain fuse at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
okay, well, that's what I need in my brain.
Okay. Well, you got to find out for yourself. You got